Just waiting for people to join now. So for those of you that just joined, this is the Jira Service Desk for AOC webinar. And if you have any questions, on the Google Plus page, you'll be able to ask those questions using the Q&A tool. Let me show you that real quick. Right here where it says Q&A. All right, we're still waiting for the rest to join. Lindsay says that you guys can hear me clearly, so that's great. Thank you, Lindsay. Lauren was saying that she's probably not going to be able to join us today. She's having connection problems, so it's likely just to be me. So if you want to give it another minute or two to see if we get any more viewers, right now we're up to 4 before I get started. And Lindsay, I'm going to have you test the Q&A tool for me. Excellent. Thank you, Lindsay. That's quite a cavalcade of people there. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up the questions area. Like I said, if anybody wants to give me a test in there, that'd be great. And then we'll go ahead and get started. Lindsay's asking, how do we do the questions? My guess is on that front page, and keep in mind, everybody, you have to bear with us. We haven't done this before, so this is all new. My understanding is that the questions happen right through here. Okay, this is the page with the Jira Confluence overview on Google Plus event. So it's right either through here or using this tool here. Let's try this one. Here's a test question. And I should see that on my screen as in the presenter screen. I'm still waiting to see that there. I don't see it. That's not sharing at all anything on my end. All right, let's try that one. Oh, that's disabling. We don't want to do that. Oh, now that it's disabled, I'm not going to be able to turn it back on because of the way that the event works. Terrific. Okay. Lindsay says, nothing loads when I click on questions. All right, that sounds great, Lindsay. So if anybody has any questions, you can IM them to me using Google Plus. Using my Google account, my Hangouts account. My Hangouts ID is 4355398@gmail.com. Okay, I'll write that right here for you. 4355398@gmail.com. Pardon my fat fingering here. All right, so that's my Gmail ID right there. The questions will pop right through here, so you'll be able to, I'll be able to read everything that you've got. And Lindsay, you can go ahead and send me the primaries for the group from there. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm Dave Hopkins. I am the one of the primary components of the Jira administration team. I like to think that it's the PM group, as well as Michael and myself and Pan, have been pretty much the team that has put this thing together. Lindsay has been a huge part, so we thank her for all of her support in this. So what we're doing today is we're going to cover the ALC version of Jira and how you're going to handle putting tickets in, tracking your tickets, and then how you're going to be able to allow your clients to have tickets in. So the clients would be like Barbara, Beth, those kinds of Tom Parisi, those kinds of people would be clients in the system. While the NDI product managers, and Lindsay, if I'm not getting the terms correct, please ping me on that. But the NDI project managers would be the ones like Lauren and Lindsay, Jane. You guys would be the ones using the Jira side of the service desk to be able to track what the tickets are doing, and I'm trying to look for the right word, shepherd them, I guess. Use the ability to maintain the tickets and watch what the tickets are doing as they go through their system. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and kick up Lindsay's chat window in one screen so I can see that, and my Jira in the other screen so you can see that. I'm going to drop that. Okay, and so off we go to Jira. So this is my Jira home screen. This is what it looks like. It's called the personal dashboard. You can see right here, it's called the personal dashboard. That dashboard's available for anybody. You can, if you don't see it, you go down here to manage dashboards and pull up the list, and you probably have to search, but it'll be right there. I own it, but it is shared to everyone. So you can set it as your default. Once you do that, it automatically pulls up everything that's assigned to you and everything that you're watching, as well as the general activity stream for Jira. So that's a simple dashboard. I like it because it just keeps what I have to do right in front of my face. And basically, when you comment on an item, you comment on an issue, or you submit an issue, or you choose to watch an issue, and we'll cover how to do all those things in a minute. But when you do all those things, the issue becomes tagged for you to watch it. So everything that you've basically touched or chosen to follow shows up under watched issues. So that's the Jira dashboard. The nice thing about the Jira dashboard, again, is it brings everything that you have to do, regardless of project, into one screen. So you can see I've got two different projects listed here as things that are currently assigned to me, the Idea Hub project and the DRS project. And I'm watching things for AEM FAA, EDCS, FCFP. So, all right. Is it possible to hide the showcase menu on the right side of your screen? I have a showcase menu on my screen. Let's see. How's that? Yeah, I didn't have it on my screen. So I've hidden the showcase screen as best I can. So let's see what happens with that. I didn't know that that was there. Thanks, Michael. All right. Okay, so here we are. And so that takes care of the personal dashboard. So the next thing you're going to want to know about is your projects. And when you have a project, and again, we're looking at this from the perspective of a product manager. So when you have a product, for example, DRS or use my FAA for an example, you go right to that project, and the project loads, and this is all the developer's view. I'm keeping this kind of high level because the majority of the PMs are not developers. So I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail in some of the screens. For example, the Kanban board screen is a developer's tracking screen. So it's not something you'll spend a great deal of time in. Where you will spend time in, though, is right here under Issues. Okay, Lauren is asking me about the questions option. Sorry, Lauren. But the questions option failed for some reason. Please use Hangouts at 398@gmail.com. All right. Okay. And so moving right along. All right. So once you've got your issue screen open, again, that's this little icon right here. You can expand those so that they show the text by clicking on the double arrows right here, if that helps. You'll get to know the icons pretty quickly, really. Sorting the icons, sorting the issues is very simple. You just choose the sort options that you want. You also have, let me widen that up a little bit so we don't lose that second screen. You also have the ability to filter and search for a specific. So if you know the number of it, you can just type it in and it'll pull it right up to the top of the screen. IFAA 82. Oh, you know what? In some cases, it is case sensitive. And this one is not being case sensitive. So anyway, there's your search screen. You also have a search screen right here at the top. You can say the same thing, my FAA 82 from any other window, and it'll pull you straight to that ticket. You don't have to be in the project in that case. So that's pretty much how to find your tickets. Finding your tickets is easy, really. Once you know your ticket number, you can come right up here to the search. You can type it right in. It'll pull it straight up for you without any problems. Creating a ticket is pretty simple. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to keep along with my. I have an outline as well that I'm trying to follow with, so I don't miss anything. So creating a ticket is pretty simple. You click Create. It'll automatically choose the project that you are in. If you want to choose a different project, you can. All of the projects that you have access to are available. Your issue types vary by project. So FAA Mobile is going to have different issue types than AEM will, for example, or FAA Content Updates will have different task types than AEM will. So you choose the task type that you want. Let's say this is a video request to upload a video. Type in your content here. Whatever your primary description is here. One thing to keep in mind about this this RTE. RTE is a rich text editor. That's basically this field that allows you to make modifications to the text itself. Think like Word versus Notepad. Okay, so you can type in it like Notepad and do everything just fine, or you can type in it like Word and it'll do the commands that you've requested. However, it does them in a different format. This format is called Wiki Markup Language. So Control-I, although it does do an italic statement, the italic statement doesn't look right until after you have published the comment. So you can see there the bolded element and the italicized element when I hit the preview button. But here it shows it differently. So it's just something to keep in mind. Strike is the same way. I use strike through a lot. And once you know these commands, typing them in is really fast. You can just type, this is a strike, boom, and it'll strike through it. Okay. Same thing with lists. You can click the button, it'll start the list. Item 1, it'll automatically continue the list. Item 2, when you hit the third enter, it deletes that list element. Going to a numbered list is just the number sign. Okay, so you end up with the bulleted list or a numbered list. So there's all that. Your components is customized based on the project that you're in. A component, for example, if you're working with a content updates, your component could be a video component or an FAA.gov update or an employees.gov update. It could be, this is a test component that we built for Lindsay to use for short term. There's all kinds of breakdowns that you can do. Labels are tagging. So basically, if you are in the habit of tagging your tickets, then this is where you would do it. They just call it labels instead of tagging. The assignee is the person that initially gets assigned to the ticket. Typically, they go in as automatic. Automatic tells it to assign it according to 2 components. The first is the component. If there is a component that is chosen in that component, for example, video management, if that component has a certain individual assigned, then automatic will assign it to that individual. If you don't enter an element in components or component doesn't have a default, it'll go to the default assignee for the issue type within that project. And you can create your own tags, Chris. The tags are just basically you type them in as you go. Let me scroll back down here. So here, and you can see I typed H, it brought up hazmat, but I start typing here and it says it's a new tag. So you just start burning them in, and whatever you guys want to use can be used. You can also delete the tags, and I thought at one point I thought that they dropped off automatically, but I think that's an extra feature that we did not install here. So that's that. Okay, you're welcome, Chris. All right, making sure I'm keeping up with the comments here. Okay, so that's assignee. The reporter, that's you. Now here's a cool feature. You can, if you're typing this in for somebody else, Chris, you get to be my victim at the moment. You can say that I'm reporting this on behalf of Chris or on behalf of Lindsay. You can say anybody that is inside the system. So Tom, for example, Parisi, who is a customer, is not in this section of the system, and I'll explain the sections, the user accounts in a second. But so you couldn't create one for Tom Parisi here, but you could do it in the service desk. All right, so linked issues, that is if this issue is linked to another issue. So for example, we get a lot of things from AOC that have, trying to think of an example. Let's use Christmas for an example, the Santa tracker. We see once in a while where, this year the Santa tracker is really just a modification of last year, for example. So they're just going to create the new ticket, say that this ticket relates to or depends on or whatever. Let's call it relates to the ticket from last year, and they'll type in the ticket number from last year. So then in the ticket notes it says use everything from last year except change this word to that word, for example. There's also blocks and depends on or is blocked by or clones or is cloned by and duplicated or duplicates. Each of those are very explicit relationships. So ticket 1 duplicates ticket 2, right? Or ticket 1 is duplicated by ticket 2. So you choose the one that best fits. If you don't if this ticket is not linked to anything else, to any other issues, then you just leave it blank. The FF and the FS are finish and start, are the F and the S. So first ticket finishes before the second ticket finishes is this one, okay? So the first ticket finishing depends on the second ticket finishing. In this one, first ticket finishes, second ticket starts. So the first ticket depends on the second ticket starting. The first ticket finishing depends on the second ticket starting. It's all written in the knowledge base, and I'll show you how to use all that because even I have to go back through those once in a while. They get a little confusing. Okay, so this is a simple custom dropdown that we've created for this content updates video. Whether it's a create, a modify, or a delete, what line of business are you in? So again, not all these tickets, not all the issues are going to have a what line of business because they don't all directly relate to LOBs within the FAA. If there is an epic associated with this product or with this project, your epics will be listed here. If you don't understand what an epic is, briefly, think of it as a classification. Okay, you have buckets, and you have a large bucket, let's call it a 5-gallon bucket, and a 2-gallon bucket, and a cigarette box. Okay, so there's 3 distinct sizes. Your large 5-gallon bucket holds everything about the project. You might have 2 or 3 of them to get the project done. Those are your epics. Inside of each of those, you're going to have a grouping of smaller buckets. Each of those buckets, for example, the large epic is user interaction. So one of the smaller buckets within that large bucket will be create a user account, log in, log out. Each of those would be a smaller bucket. Inside of each of those buckets, you have the little cigarette box sized boxes. Each of those is the task. So create the database, build the data structure for users. Each of those would be a task. Each of those tasks combined creates a story, that's the middle bucket, and then each of the stories creates an epic, that's the biggest bucket. So that's your epic. Your epic is a container, a large container of all kinds of smaller items. Due date is very simple. Original estimate, this is how long the developer expects it to take. As he works on the ticket, there's a start and a stop work or start and stop tracking of time. This will automatically reduce based on the usage of that feature. You can also set it manually, so if you forget to hit start while you're working on the project and you know you just did an hour, you can come in here and knock this off by an hour. Or you can go into the work log, which I'll show you, and say, I've worked on this for an hour. And then these are just simple checkboxes. Does it associate with either one of these? And then you hit create. All right, is that all clear so far? I'm not getting a lot of questions, so I'm thinking that I'm either way over your heads and you've all fallen asleep, or everything so far is just fine. Okay, so that is pretty much the project and issue components themselves. All right, that's how to create a ticket from the product manager's point of view. So what you're going to do is you're going to direct your customers to the service desk. I'm going to use content updates service desk, and the Jira issues service desk as examples today. Thanks, Lindsay. Lindsay just texted me. She said, we're all asleep. Just kidding. So anyway, hold on to that sense of humor. You might need it in a minute. Okay, so let's look at the content update service desk. So this is the content update service desk as the developer or service desk agent, which is the term that they use, service desk agent, sees it. You can see there are no open tickets currently assigned to me. There is nothing in the drop everything box. That's also a 0. Currently, unassigned requests, assigned requests, and waiting on customer are all 0. So you can see that all of the tickets that are in the content updates project are currently resolved. So let's go ahead and choose a resolved one so we can have a look at it. Here's one from Jennifer. Remove the 323 unmanned flight services. So Jennifer went in and created this ticket just like we just created the ticket that you saw. Filled out all the content as she was going through the ticket, the full description of it. And then Pierre went in and added a comment that he was done. And then he probably hit close on the ticket. Okay. So the workflow for your tickets are visible here. So this is the complete workflow for the content update. Okay, so this is a Cold Fusion static content update workflow. So this is the workflow that was defined for this particular type of ticket. So each type of ticket, this is a development task type. So each type of ticket gets a different workflow. They can also have the same, it doesn't matter. It's just, in this case, whoever put this together has chosen that this one's going to have a different one. So the gray box as the ticket is created, you can see it says create right here. After creation, the ticket gets placed into open. The small all means any status, any one of these statuses can go back to open. So any one of these statuses can go to on hold. Any one of them can go to closed. Okay, so you can go from on hold straight to closed or in progress straight to closed. You don't have to follow a workflow to get to any of these ones that say all. Otherwise, from open, you can only go to in progress or closed. Okay, that's in progress or closed because the direction of the arrows, you can see that. Now, the little tags that are written on these lines here, development work started and no development needed, are what you would see in your case across the top here. So from open, you would click no development needed and it would close the ticket. From open, you would click development work started and it would jump to in progress. Then from in progress, you can jump to completed on development or reopened. I'm sorry, completed on development is the next step. Reopened comes into in progress. Got to make sure you follow the arrows properly. All right, so we're going to go to completed on development. From completed on development, you can go to in QA, which sends it to the QA team, or you can send it to push to production, which puts it to completed, or changes no longer needed, which pushes it to closed. So let's jump straight to closed. From closed, you can go to reopened or open. I'm sorry, reopened or it can come from open, it can come from from reopened, and it can come from completed on development. So that's your workflow right there for this particular task. Now, if you have a different task type, this is a standard issue type. If we look at that workflow, it's a different workflow. So that's pretty much all there is to the workflows from your perspective. You're going to be able to view the workflow that is available to you for that particular type. Here's one that is a media file, so let's look at that one. You don't have rights to change. That looks like the same one as the one we just looked at. You don't have a right to change the workflows. However, you can certainly recommend the changes if you have them, and they will be addressed, reviewed and addressed. This looks like the first workflow that we saw. So it looks like there's not too many workflows in this project, which is it's good. It helps you, Typically, we have a sprint workflow and a non-sprint workflow, but this project, content updates, doesn't really do sprints and stuff. So, all right. So that's pretty much that. If you need to reopen a ticket, you simply click reopen. You can click, as you're running through the ticket schema, you can click close. Delete and move and those kinds of things are under more. This is also where you'd attach a screenshot or other files, and log work. Log work is your biggest one. As you're going through your ticket and you're entering your comments, you can also, rather than just enter a generic comment, like right here, here's a generic comment, blah, blah, okay? It's going to just pop it into this list of comments. All it's doing is making a static comment on the page. You also have the ability to have an internal only comment. The primary difference between the two comments is an internal only comment only the developers see. The standard comment actually goes back to the customer as well. So since all of these comments you see, they're all just comments, they're all, that's an internal comment. So only the developers can see it. If Tom Parisi, for example, if this was his ticket, he wouldn't see this comment or this one. Okay, he'd only see these that are standard comments. So that's those guys right there. But back to work log. When you click work log, you have the ability to say, I spent 1 hour and 35 minutes here. You can adjust the estimate automatically, or you can leave the estimate unchanged. I can set it to whatever I want, and then enter my comment and say done. Once you've uploaded files, you can attach those files to your comment right here. There aren't any attached currently, or they would be listed here under attached images. Putting links in is the same as anywhere else. You have anchors, internals, and externals. I'm not going to save that comment. All right. And so what is next on my list here? Okay, let's go ahead and open up the rest of the service desk. So this is the primary page when you load up a service desk as the service desk component that you would see as a product manager. Again, this is the difference between the product manager and developers and stuff, those that can log into Jira, versus the clients and the customers who can only log into the portal. If we look at the people tab, this shows you the difference between the agents. Okay, these are all the agents that are assigned to this particular project. And then here are the customers. So the customers can be agents as well. They can have double duties, like Chow and myself are both, Camille is both. But then you've got collaborators, David, Francine, Greg Damaris, Zofsky. These guys are all collaborators. And then you've got simple customers, which actually I don't see any one of those in here. Would be like Tom Parisi. Let's see if Tom is on here. We haven't created any customers in there yet. But so they're going to be in there. When you go to invite a customer, you click right here, send this to tom.parisi@faa.gov. He'll get the invite with complete instructions on how to come and join this particular service desk. All right. The collaborators were still working on fine-tuning how that works, but essentially what happens is only when a ticket gets created in the project and service desk, only agents are allowed to modify the ticket. Technically then, only agents are allowed to work on that ticket or charge time against the ticket. What happens though is, let's say the ticket gets created, it gets sent in to me, and I do my work on the ticket, and then I bump into a spot where I can't go on because that part of the ticket is above my ability or skill set. So I have to send it to Michael. So I can basically tag Michael as a collaborator. I create a new ticket for him outside of the service desk, or I can just have him drop in as a collaborator work with me on it, and then solve the problem. And then I track everything that way. Okay, I got a question from Chris, who sends out the invites. That's a good question, Chris. I'm not sure if there's a restriction on who can send out the invites. What I would say is, the nice thing is we only have so many. So if somebody were to send me a list of them and the projects that they need to be associated with, I'd be more than happy to do that. But you can also, when you log in yourself, go to the People tab of your project. And if you have a service desk for it, and then go to customers and see if you can click the invites. So if you can, then you can go ahead and send the invites. As customers, there's no limit to the customer count, okay? We don't have to pay for customers. So we can have as many customers as need to use the system. We only have to pay for agents in service desk. You also don't have to pay for collaborators. But that's why if you look at the agents list, that's why it's so short, because we pay by the agent. The customers and collaborators, they are unlimited. All right, so the next tab is the reports tab. I haven't spent too much time in here, but the reports are flexible. They can be done ad hoc or they can be saved. And they've obviously got a couple of canned ones in here, which don't look like they are doing too much. Here's a good one though, SLA met versus breached. An SLA in the service desk world, SLA stands for Service Level Agreement. And I'll break down the SLAs in a second when we get to that tab and explain what all of those mean. But basically, it's your promise to respond. So your promise to respond, in this case, we breached it once right here on Tuesday, the 22nd. Looks like 26 tickets breached it. I don't know how that happened. But in every other case, the tickets have been met. So this is 3 met on this day, 1 met on this day, 2 met on this day. All right, so your SLAs. So your SLAs are basically, if you look right down here under issues, okay, the first one, if a priority comes in that is equal to a critical or drop everything, the goal for the SLA is 4 hours based on a 9 to 5 sample calendar. So you have a standard 8-hour day to turn around a ticket in 4 hours when it's a drop everything critical. All other issues, in this case, have a 24-hour goal on a 24/7 calendar. So the 24/7 calendar versus the 8-hour calendar, the 9 to 5 sample. Let's say it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and a critical ticket comes in. You have 4 hours to complete it, but it's 4 o'clock. So at 5 o'clock, the counter stops. And at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, the counter starts again for your remaining 3 hours to complete that ticket. Now let's say that it was a standard priority ticket. It was not a critical or a drop everything. So it falls into this category. That same ticket comes in at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. On a 24/7 calendar, it's going to start counting from 4 o'clock to midnight. And then from midnight on the next day. So your 24 hours starts the second that you come in and goes until the ticket's finished or the 24 hours runs out. So you can have an unlimited number of, well, not unlimited number of SLAs. Your SLAs are limited by the priorities that you have in your project. There's also a basic workflow for when to count the time. So the time counts in this case, when the issue is created, it's paused when the status is changed to waiting for customer. So you send this back to the customer for their response. The time is paused. And then it's stopped when the resolution is set to anything. the time gets cleared when the resolution is set to anything. So that's what that section right there tells us. We can change the metrics. You can add a new issue statement based down at the bottom on a different priority. But for the content updates, we really only have critical and standard. There really isn't anything else. All right, the settings. This is the window that tells us what kind of fields we're going to have, what kind of tickets we're going to have in the customer portal. So I'm not going to go over it here. I'm going to take you to the customer portal and show it to you there. So we're going to click on customer portal. Now this URL right here is the one that you'll actually give to your customer. So I'm going to open that in a separate window. All right. Make sure that that's showing. Okay, so you can see under General, Content Update, General Inquiry, and Menu Management. If we go back to the settings, under General, Content Update, General Inquiry, and here's another general here, Menu Management. Okay, so you can see how the group associates with the tab. There's the video tab and the issues tab. So those items in the settings that are listed with each of these, this is the tab that they show up on. Under issues, you have website issue and bug report. And under video, it's create a new video, add, update, remove a video from the FAA TV media library. So you click on the ticket, it opens or you click on the type of case you want to create and it opens it up and you've got all your basics information here. Again, this is where I can create it for somebody else. Okay. Choose somebody else's name or I'm creating it on their behalf. That's going to come in handy a lot when Tom sends you a ticket and says, here, go create this for me, track it, blah, blah, blah. You can, once he's in as a client, you can create it on his behalf. Let's see if he's in here. Yeah, I didn't think so. So, boom, you can create it for somebody else. Summary is a simple summary of the issue. Content update in this case of the content change. The description, which website it's associated with. So here we go again with the employees video or FAA.gov. What its priority is. So you can see that under the priorities, remember according to our SLA, critical drop everything is the only one that is different. All the rest of these, including high, all the rest of these have a 24-hour turnaround promise, where critical has a 4-hour turnaround promise. Normal is the default. You can choose to attach files, choose your line of business that it's associated with, and again, add any tagging that you might have. Okay. Now, again, this is the screen this is the area that your customers are going to see. Now, you can certainly come in here and add a ticket, change something. You can do anything you want to from your own perspective and track your requests in here as well. You'll be in as a customer though, so keep that in mind. One nice thing is when you have open requests, it'll show them right here. So regardless of which service desk you're in, like we have several service desks. If we go up to the Help Center, you see we have the Jira Issues Service Desk, which is for us within Jira. We're going to cover that in a minute. We have the Content Updates portal, which is the one that we've just been looking at. And the Business Plan Builder has its own service desk. I'm only seeing all of them because I have the rights to. If the customer doesn't have rights to see Business Plan Builder, for example, they won't. They will only see the Content Update portal. Since you guys all have rights to Jira as well as Content Update portal, you'll see both as well. So let me show you. Actually, I'm going to do this in Jira Issues Service Desk. So I'm just going to create a sample. All right, I don't need any of the boards for it. Testing, please disregard. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a ticket. So here's my ticket. I just created it. It's currently opened. I can add comments, I can add attachments to it. Okay, so if we add an attachment to it, go ahead and throw that up there. That's my dog's vet bill from last weekend. I don't think anybody will mind. So now we have an attachment that I've attached, and it wants to know what this is. So this is a vet bill just using as a okay. Spelling, I am the worst speller ever. Okay, add, and now there it goes. Okay, so my dog's got Parvo and Bordetella. All right, so that's that. So now if we go back to the to that service desk, as a service desk employee, here it is. Okay, if I go to my open tickets, you'll see that it's the only one assigned to me, but all open requests, there are 2. If we open the ticket itself, it is currently open. There is no resolution. It's a normal task set with a normal priority. I'm also the assignee as well as the reporter. I can change that to anybody on the service desk. Okay. Now this is a cool thing. You saw me just change the assignee to Pierre. So Pierre just got notified that he has this new ticket. Fortunately, it does say testing, please disregard. So hopefully he'll ignore it. But if you watch, as I get into a field, you just click on that field and you can change everything on this ticket, almost everything, just by clicking on the field. Okay? You don't have to go find the edit button. If you look, there is an edit button. Okay, and it does bring it up into the form that you were used to seeing. And some of those fields, like the estimates and stuff, can only be edited there. However, the majority of the ticket can be edited in line while you're working. You can delete the attachments. You can add new attachments, more, attach screenshots, or attach a file. With your files, you have drag and drop, so you can find it in your local system, drag it right here and drop it, and it'll throw it in as an attachment. The same thing with your screenshots. This is very cool. This is a very cool trick. So let's go over here, open Google. I'm going to take a screenshot, and hopefully this translates. So I don't know if you can see it screenshotting I just screenshotted the face of the Google thinger, that image right there. Okay, so I just screenshotted this image and I copied it onto my clipboard. So now I go back to my ticket and I open the attached screenshot. We'll do this again. More, attach screenshot, click right here and say paste. And it plops it in there from your memory. You don't have to go play games with going and saving it from the screen cap utility and uploading that as an image, as a file attachment, blah, 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 blah. You literally, it says right here, take a screenshot and paste it. And boom, there it is. All right, so now we have that as an image. Now, when you go in to make a comment, here is a comment with a screenshot. There's the screenshot I just took, and it throws it in its wiki markup language again. Okay, and there it is in the comment, reduced. Click on it, brings it up full screen. All right, so back to the service desk. So now we've made a couple of changes to this ticket. So let's go ahead and refresh it. I can see that I uploaded the file, the case was created, I uploaded the file, and then the service desk agent, as an agent, I went in and I added this screenshot and I said, here's a comment, and so on and so on. All right. Now you can see that up here that I've got the number 1 next to my request. So if I go back to the Help Center, even in the FAA customer portal, I still have my number 1 up there, and it shows my open requests, even though it's in a different project. I can also go and look at all my closed requests. Okay. So these are features that your customers would be using. This request dropdown, being able to track their open and close requests, all of that stuff. They can search for the requests easily. All right, so let's go back to the Jira Issues Service Desk. And there's a couple of things I want to tell you guys about this space here. We have about 9 minutes left. So when you have a problem with Jira and you have a question or you found a bug in Jira or Confluence, if you just need help, if you need your account changed in any way, or you need a project or a space created, projects are within Jira and spaces are within Confluence. I'll show you a space in a minute if you haven't already seen one, which I'm sure you have at this point. So these are the areas that you'd go to make changes or request changes. If you have an issue, if you have questions for me, Michael, Lindsay, anybody that I can get to help me on the Jira help desk component, this is where we're going. I've been building a knowledge base, so the knowledge base is very helpful. So remember we said, what does the FS and the FF mean? So what do the issue link types mean? Click on that. Here they are, all laid out, completely legible and in plain English. So SS is depended by, means that ticket B must start before ticket A can start, or vice versa in this case. Yes, this helped me. Okay. So the knowledge base is very heavy. It's got a lot of good information in it. I've also put links up to Atlassian University. Atlassian is the company that manufactures Jira and Confluence, and they have terrific walkthroughs on how to use this system. Here are the Atlassian version of the Jira Agile, and Confluence. So if you have any questions and you want to do your own research like me, I'm a get out there and figure it out myself guy. So hence all of these handy links. All right, so that's pretty much it for the service desk. So again, to submit your customers to your new service desk, you go into your service desk, and it's going to be based on project. You'll go to people, see if you have the ability to add customers, to invite your customers, like Chris was asking. If not, then just send it to me and I'll put it in there. You can go to the Jira service desk and I'll pop it in as a request, as a user request for a client to be created on XY service desk, and I'll be happy to do it. You'll then send them the customer portal. All right, you'll send them this link right here, and they'll be able to open that up for themselves, have everything they need, including their profile. They can change their password and stuff if they need to. There's all their ticket information. I need to go close that ticket over here. All right, I heard the beep. So do we have a question? We do not. Okay. So let's go back to the Jira Service Desk. I'm going to close that one open ticket. Oh, I signed it to PA, that's right. So we're just going to go ahead and say delete. Yes. And now that ticket's removed from the system completely. All right. So the last thing I want to cover, up here is these three little dots, and you'll see Confluence. So we're going to launch over to Confluence right now. I'm going to take you to my personal space. Confluence is a wiki. Okay, that's really all it is. It's just a wiki. In my personal Confluence space, I have, this is my SIG line for my email, so that I don't ever lose it, because I have a habit of losing it. Every time I turn my email around, it seems to fall away. Also have my contact info so that anybody can get a hold of me, and obviously it says the quickest way to reach me is through Hangouts at this address, but you can also use any of these, my phone number. And this is how to navigate this space. So this right here is a replica of what you'll find over here. I also have my to-do list, my favorite spaces, and my activity feed, so that I can make sure that what I'm doing is being tracked properly. Under application information, for example, here's all of the Atlassian info, the licensing info, everything for what we've been doing. Here's my laptop application settings. I'm tracking all kinds of stuff in here. I just moved laptop, so this is just a checklist. My quarterly password checklist, so I know where to check and when the last time I did it was. Looks like I'm due. The test plant licenses for all of the testing software that we use here. I track all the licenses and who has them. So I've got full links of 508 tools. I'm only showing you this stuff so that you guys have an idea of what you can certainly take care of on your own in your own space. Everyone is allowed, if you have a Jira account and a Confluence account, automatically you have the right to have your own personal space. You can lock the space down as tightly as yourself or one or two people, or you can have it opened up to everybody. So for example, everything under here is open to everybody except my to-do list and this one page. So this is the Atlassian overview training outline that I'm using. Okay, this is the public version, so I can see where everybody's made comments and has asked me to cover certain things. So all of that stuff's been what I've been addressing. This page right here is my personal training notes. So these are the things that I'm saying that I'm not necessarily showing to you guys. I'm, keeping in the back end so that I don't overload you with data, but I still don't forget to say anything. Links to my examples, everything's in here. The WCAG and 508 training that I'm doing next week, that's all right here. This is that outline, complete with the slide deck that I'm going to use. How to test legacy browsers, the QC steps that I regularly follow. This is a good one that I came up with. This is a holdover from FogBugs. FogBugs gave you the ability to have snippets of code be popped into your tickets at any time, but Jira doesn't allow that. It doesn't have that functionality. So what I've done is I've coded this for Jira, and now all I do is I copy it and go paste it into my ticket. And as an example, let's go to my personal dashboard, and this ticket that I'm working on right now, you can see right here, okay, is this outline. So I copy this outline, I paste it in here. That way, I'm working on the ticket, and I start laying out my notes and my issues and what I've done. You can see I've done 3 of the 7 or 8 browsers that are listed there. And then down here is more notes that I'm using. But having this snippets has been very, very helpful. If nothing else, it keeps all of my tickets looking exactly the same. All of them have the same outline. And I've even included the wiki markup language. You can see the little stars at the end, that's to bold. So it comes out looking like this, even though when you look at the text, you can see that it's the stars, not, for the RTE. It's definitely a little bit of getting used to for that. All right, that's pretty much everything that I have. Let me open it up to questions. I'm going to run through my training notes real fast, make sure I didn't miss anything. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to blow it up. We've got about 2 minutes left. Editing. And the only thing I've got on my list that I didn't cover is capturing a knowledge base article, but that's a little bit complicated, so I'm going to skip that. So that's pretty much it. If nobody has any questions, I'll give you another second or two, and then we're going to call it. Questions. Who's got the questions? Okay. Well, I will post a link to this somehow once I figure it out. Oh, it sounds like we got a question. You're very welcome, Chris. My pleasure. I'll post a link to this once I figure out where the video is going to be, so that you can share this around if you need to. Hopefully it was helpful. If not, I'm more than happy to redo it. We can continue to work on the outline, the training outline. If you have any other items that you'd like added to it, go ahead and mark those in there. And then if we have a substantial amount, we can certainly redo this video. Otherwise, make an amendment to it. I know that we're talking about doing one for a complete knowledge dump on Jira. So I'm expecting that that one would take probably 3 hours to do the video for it. I would enlist assistance for that. So Michael and Lindsay, keep your ears open on that one. I'll probably pull Pan in on that one as well. We'll have a full webinar style where we dump everything we have about it and go from there. We'll put that one up on video as well. So if there's no other questions, Lindsay's got something here. Lindsay says 1 second. Okay. But otherwise, thank you all very much. And I hope you got something out of it. You good to go, Lindsay? Okay, never mind, she says. All right. Well, thank you all very much for attending. And like I said, if you have any questions or problems, give me a call. Create a ticket if you need to, whatever you want to do. And we'll go ahead and get them knocked out as quickly as possible. All right. Thanks all.